1997, from Benin, Nigeria to the British Museum and now inside the British Film Institute BFI. Come, trace and discover African heritage through film. Invasion 1897, an expression of African culture and heritage. There was looting, maiming, destruction, invasion and indeed deposition of the last king of Africa, Oba Ovoramen Ogbaisi of Benin Kingdom. There will be Q&A with the director, Lancelot Imasuen, Rudolph Walker, Charles Chucky Venn, Hannah Reese Felston, Anika Lofty, and many more.
Fantastic film. I'm just going to the studio now. That was brilliant. I've never seen such a movie. And in fact, that's the first Nollywood movie that I've watched and wanted more, and more. Invention. Real, pure, raw, and to the point. I give the director 100%. Welcome. My name is Lydia Ole, presenting for Royal Greenwich TV, your humble host as usual. Today, my topic is Invention 1897. The movie Invention 1897. What a beautiful movie to watch. That is the first Nollywood movie that I have seen that put me on the edge. It was so real. It was so raw. It was so beautiful. What did I like about the movie? What did I like about the director? What did I like about the actors? They were real. Now, the main actor was a pastor to an actor. I don't know how that happened, but he was good. The man was good. Yeah, he was so good. From a pastor to acting, from the house of God to Oba shrine. That contradiction, but it worked so well. Lancelot, the director, he has so much passion. And when he was talking about his movie after the premiere, of course we can't show you the movie because we're not allowed. What I liked more was the question and answer time, because everybody had their own view. What happened, what they saw, what they thought was right, what they didn't like. And there was so much argument, and it was good because it was positive anyway. The fact that at the end of the movie, the director actually intermarried a white lady and a black man, the guy who was actually telling the story. And a lot of people, some people, not a lot of people really, some people found that to be disturbing. That why would you allow a black man, this boy, the Benin boy, to marry the white woman? I love the answer that the director gave. He said he is preaching and he believes in peace, unity. Okay, all these things happened. The Benin thing, it was horrible what happened to them. It's horrible what happened to Africa in general. It's horrible what happened to when the British went to colonize, or the French or the German went to colonize a different country. It's horrible. That happened. That is history. Our children need to be told. They need to know what happened, because in order to know your future, you need to know your history. So it's good what happened. But at the same time, we are moving on. How do we move on? How do we preach forgiveness, reconciliation, togetherness? Right now, we're living in a world that we're mixed. There's diversity. So actually, what he said, he's preaching peace. And that's what he wants to see. And that's why he did the intermarriage of the white woman and the black guy, the Benin guy. And personally, I think that was good. I think that was brilliant. Because now we intermarry. We're not just living in Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, Zanzibar, Niger, or Germany, or France, or America. No, we travel. And it's good to know each other's cultures, each other's customs. So I think what the director did was beautiful towards the end of the movie. That was the end of it. And I love this movie, and I can just tell everybody, when it's out there, go and watch it, go and see it. And just for the feedbacks that I got, because I spoke to people, a lot of people, and they gave me their feedbacks, and everybody was actually positive about the movie. Everybody was positive. In life we always get people who are negative, so we did have people who were negative about it, but the best thing out of it, it was positive. And I love this movie. And I actually, just to the director, thumbs up.
As ever, keep your phones off if you can. I think there are sort of three sort of headline points that will be part of our discussion, and it's really your chance to speak to the director and the actors and the experts. The three areas I can see of importance, first of all, are the reason, a big reason, not the whole reason, but a big reason why the film ended up with us today, is that it's a film about a very serious subject, and it's a serious film. African Odyssey's Nigerian film industry is of enormous interest because of what it's doing and how it will transform world media in the next few years. The third possible theme, which I'm sure will interest some of you, is how we capture history. How we take this momentous period and recreate it, or give an insight from today's perspective into yesterday and say something about it. So with that in mind, what I'm going to do is just ask and start with the cast and the director and move down to Nadia and Amma, who's the historian. A quick response to the screening today, because one of the things about what's happened today, which I think is remarkable, is that for the most part we watch films in our living rooms. It's very different to come together in a space like this, experience the film as it was intended to be experienced. Judging from the comment from a visiting film director who, Lancelot, was greatly impressed by the film, Horace Ovey. It's a spectacular film to watch, and we really get that experience on the big screen. But Mike Imasuen, who's one of the cast, I'm sure you recognise, starting with you, a quick response to today's screening and experience of seeing the film here at the BFI.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe I'll just pass to my director. I'd like him to make the first statement.
Michael Morigbe played Oba Vurame. I've been accused severally, all of the places that are shown, that we're supposed to costume him the way he looked in the film, so that people can easily recognize him. So I'm sorry. So, ladies and gentlemen, Omoegbe Oba Vurame in Invasion 1897. And it's also very important to know that deliberately we chose not to use any known face for the role. So it's very exciting for me to tell you that this is Mike Omoegbe's first film ever in his life. And also very interesting is that we took him from the pulpit. He's a pastor. So convincing him to come play a fetish king as against his faith as a man of God was another issue. But I'm sure that he's enjoying it now. He's traveling everywhere, and when they see him in Benin, where somewhere else, and somebody saw him, and Oba talk with him, that's the way we reference. So he gets that quite a lot. I'm very fulfilled that this number of people actually came to see this work in London. That is the most exciting point for me. And looking at the audience, that people from all walks of life are here. I don't want to judge, but I hope you enjoyed our modest, unapologetic presentation of this work from our perspective. Let me give kudos to the doctor that did the paper presentation. When she was talking, I thought that she wasn't a consultant because she actually captured the story, maybe from our point of view too, the way we wanted to present it, and the writer did the palace and several historians that we spoke to. There have been literature books, Trials of our Foramen, written by Professor Ahmed Yelma, commissioned by the federal government to celebrate 100 years of the invasion. The most popular being Ovuramen Ogbaisi by the late Professor Olarotimi. But deliberately, I didn't want to adapt any of these works. Maybe because Professor Olarotimi was a Yoruba man. Ahmed Yerima is from Edo State, but from Auchi, speaking part of Benin. But it was the first time that a Benin man was actually telling this story, and the first time we were putting it in motion picture. I'll stop here. I hope you enjoyed the work. I was surprised. I told him, I said, nobody's moving. As a filmmaker, that's the way you judge your film. Like you are sitting behind, you want to see people that want to storm out, like in Washington, when the heads were rolling, some white folks couldn't stand it. They ran out of the hall. So, but I'm quite impressed that everybody stayed out there. I'm sure they enjoyed yourselves. Let me also give kudos to Safa, the organizer of Safa, for the support that he has given to this work. Thank you very much.
Nadia, just to pick up with you, and a response to a film that's really part of a new wave of international films that will be of interest right across the world.
Well, certainly for me, I think what was quite striking, having seen some of your earlier work, is the amount of time that you obviously took to craft and the work that you did with your cast and crew to try and get some of the performances. I think that really shone through compared to, as you referred to earlier, the sort of core Nollywood. And I think definitely there was a sense that you were thinking about this international audience, people from different walks of life, as you said, who would be watching this work. And obviously trying to get this historical message a bit further than it would if you perhaps kept it in a contained style just for a local audience.
Thank you.
I must confess that this is my first Nollywood film that I viewed from beginning to end. And that is an honest confession. My mother is an avid fan of Nollywood films. This is the first one I've seen, and I commend it highly. I saw it, I was able to see a review from David, so I actually saw it on Thursday at home. And I was very much struck, and I liked the position that I come from, that the past is not dead, that history lives in the present. And I think that was conveyed in terms of the first segment of the film, in terms of Charles Venn, who plays the man who steals or reclaims, rather, reappropriates the Benin, elements of the Benin bronzes from the British Museum, and then it goes back into history, then it comes back into the past. And that very much fits into my kind of philosophical approach about history, that history is connected to the past, the present, and the future. And our future challenge is, as I said in my talk, in terms of an issue of restitution and reparations, those material artifacts that belong to African people. And other peoples as well. Let's not forget that the Elgin marbles as well are currently in Russia, being displayed by the British Museum. So there's also an issue of reparations or restitutions for other peoples as well. But that was the first thing that I liked about the film, in terms of intertwining the past and the present and the future. The second thing that I really liked about the film was a very strong African agency, African resistance, and it showed that Africans, though we were outmaneuvered by the superior military technology of Europeans, we were by no means passive bystanders, and we tried within our means, our machetes and our bows and arrows, to give a good fight. Or to use Bernie Grant's word, to give them a good licking. So that very strongly came across in the film. And lastly as well, I thought there was a very good depiction of the the extent to which the Edo people, the Bini people, are steeped in their historical, traditional, cultural customs and traditions and spirituality that came across very strongly, whether you agree or disagree. The Oba there, who I'm learning is a pastor, I'm sure he may not be sympathetic genuinely to some of those kind of spiritual traditions, but that came across very strongly in terms of the culture, traditions, and the fact that the Bini people felt that their customs and traditions had been violated by the Europeans, apart from the fact that the invasion was about the Europeans seeking to exploit and gain access to the rich resources of Benin. So from a historian's perspective, those things were very strongly conveyed in the film, and therefore I commend you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, just before we hand over to you, and as ever, please, we have 2 roaming mics. So what we'll do is we'll take, and if the more you can limit it to a question as opposed to a personal response to the film, the more questions we can take. But just to kick it off, Lancelot, the location of the British Museum was very important. So it looks as though you've had the British Museum's partnership from the start, which is highly appropriate to the subject of the film. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit about that. It's filmed there, you've gone back, you've shown the film at the British Museum. Has that begun some serious debate about, as Anna puts it, reparations and restitution?
Yeah. Coincidentally, June 22nd, one of the British spies that led the invasion, the great-grandson, Mark Walker, returned voluntarily 2 of the artifacts that was in his family possession. Oh. And 4 of us spoke at the Palace of the Oba of Benin. It was a huge ceremony to receive these artworks. And I said whether it was just mere coincidence or by spirituality, we have played our role, our part in history, where our agitation, they didn't say they read about the film, but when we're filming in London, that we first got a call that someone wants to return the ones that were with him. So that was a pointer to the fact that we're in the right direction. But for me, I made this film primarily for economic reasons. I'm not very bothered about the artwork being returned. But I'm strongly advocating for the finances that this museum probably had accrued over the years from this work. I ran into an artifact in Boston, an antiquity shop, and I saw one from Benin. The asking price was $54,000. I said, my God. Then I took my mat back to the street, because the street is still there, a good street, where they make all of this stuff. If a house there or a family now goes to sell one artifact for $54,000, I wonder the kind of life they'll be living from their craft. So from the work, I am saying the British took the arts, but they couldn't take the craft. The craft is still with the people. But unfortunately, the irresponsibility of the African government, particularly the government of Nigeria and Edo State, they have not been able, because all they squabble about is the oil, that they get quick returns. So I was using this movie to prick the conscience of the government. But there are several other areas that our people can earn foreign exchange. And so importantly is arts. But unfortunately, I still have not gotten endorsement for this film from the state government, where I come from, where Igun Street is located. Not the federal government, who just celebrated 100 years of another jamboree of Nigeria, because if Benin didn't fall in 1897, probably there wouldn't have been a Nigeria today. And the historian alluded to that fact. It was after the fall of Benin, because before the fall of Benin, Lagos had fallen, Jaja of Opobo had fallen, Nana of Shekiri had fallen. All of these West African kingdoms had fallen. The only kingdom that was still standing, contrary to the views of the British, as presented by the Portuguese, that the Benin was very organized. That is why you saw the king. The British were coming. There is a minister in charge of defense. Make sure the territorial integrity of the place is protected. You make sure that so there was a government in place. So again, you would have, if I proceed that, probably if these guys didn't come, we would have been more developed than we are today. Thank you.
We don't want sympathy, we just want to be heard, because this year, or this week, we have been celebrating the Holocaust. But my tribe were massacred in concentration camps. No mention, no celebration. We just want our history to be told. You said you want to hear history about Africa. I'm currently writing a book about my mother's experience in a concentration camp. My father was orphaned and condemned to a life in the streets of Nairobi. But I am here today, and I thank you very much for this film.
We've got someone at the back here who's been waiting a while. So
it's me, David, yeah. It's me.
I will not die if I do not tell the story. I used to say this. People thought I was joking. Because, of course, the highest amount of money I put in the film before this, probably $50,000 or so. Yeah, I needed about $1 million to make this. And whenever anybody hears that in Nigeria, I say, are you crazy? We have just 21 functioning cinemas in the whole of Nigeria, servicing 160 or 70 million people. So making back the money don't even consider that if you want to tell a story like this. But some individual who just cut the ball. I made a film titled Adesua, and that was quite popular. It was historical, set in 1752 AD, and a lot of people liked it. That was how the funding for this, a particular individual funded it before every other person started getting interested. So 3 of us put in money here. Senator Desi Danjuma, Captain Rosa Kumbo, and Lancelot Imasuen. And at times I borrowed from him. Yeah, and well, the
other question was about screenings in.
Yes, it was. We have premieres in Benin, Lagos, and Abuja, and it was released in Calabar too. And it was officially released 5th of December in Nigeria. It's still running in Benin. The reviews have been quite wonderful, and but the money hasn't come though.
Okay, we have a question here in the middle. Then with a hand up, and then we'll come.
It's about kind of creating a platform for, and also kind of giving thanks to the opportunity that you have gotten to realize your position, and also create a platform for unity and peaceful coexistence.
Yeah.
In the sense that it's not about, it's about unity, it's about peace, and also moving forward. And you cannot go back to what has happened. It's always the story of the victorious. It's not the story of the loser. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.